Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, the 5,000 rupees bet that built India's biggest fortune. In 1985, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala entered India's stock market with just 5,000 rupees. By the time he died, he was worth nearly $5.8 billion. But he didn't inherit an empire. He didn't build a factory. And he didn't create a technology company. He made bets, one on Tata Tea, one against the fear-gripping Dalal Street, and one investment that would eventually be worth thousands of crores. So how did 5,000 rupees create India's big bull? It started at a dinner table. Long before Dalal Street knew his name, Rakesh was a middle-class kid growing up in Mumbai. Born on July 5, 1960, into a Rajasthani Marwari family, Rakesh grew up in a modest household. His father was an income tax officer. And when friends came over, they talked about business, politics, and stocks. Rakesh listened. He noticed something strange. Every time a major event appeared in the news, stock prices moved. His father gave him a simple instruction: read the news, then watch the market. For Rakesh, the stock market stopped looking like a collection of random numbers. It became a puzzle, and he wanted to solve it. Soon, Rakesh wanted to stop watching. He wanted to invest. So he asked his father for money. The answer was no. His father would teach him, guide him, explain the market. But the money, Rakesh would have to find that himself. That refusal may have been one of the most important lessons of his life, because if Rakesh wanted to enter the market, he would have to earn his own way in. Rakesh followed the safe path first, commerce at Sydenham College, then chartered accountancy. By 1985, he had qualified as a chartered accountant. A respectable career was waiting for him. But Rakesh didn't want a safe career. He wanted the market. And in 1985, with just 5,000 rupees of his own money, he stepped into Dalal Street. The problem was, 5,000 rupees wasn't nearly enough. Rakesh had conviction. He had knowledge. What he didn't have was capital. His brother was already working as a chartered accountant in Mumbai. Through him, Rakesh met a client who was willing to take a risk. The client agreed to lend him 2.5 lakh rupees. But there was a condition. Rakesh had to prove that he could deliver. Then another client added 5 lakh rupees. Suddenly, the young man who had entered the market with 5,000 rupees was trading with 7.5 lakh. But this wasn't free money. It was borrowed. Real people were watching. And now, Rakesh had to be right. His first major test came in 1986. The company was Tata Tea. Rakesh bought 5,000 shares. The price? Just 43 rupees each. To most investors, it was simply another stock. Rakesh saw an opportunity. He bought and waited. 3 months later, 43 rupees had become 143 rupees. The stock had more than tripled. Rakesh had made his first serious profit. But the money wasn't the most important part. He had proven something. The people who trusted him with their capital had been right to take the risk. And more importantly, Rakesh had proven it to himself. Between 1986 and 1989, he kept trading, studying, watching, and making calculated bets. His money grew to roughly 50 lakh rupees. For most people, that would already have been a life-changing success. For Rakesh, it was only the beginning. Because in 1989, fear took over the market. India was approaching the union budget. Investors were nervous. Many believed the incoming government would be hostile to business. Stocks came under pressure. People sold. Dalal Street prepared for the worst. Rakesh looked at the same situation and reached the opposite conclusion. He believed the market had become too afraid. He believed the new government understood business better than investors expected. So while others were selling, Rakesh bought aggressively. It was a dangerous bet. If he was wrong, years of progress could disappear. Then, the budget arrived. Rakesh had read the situation correctly. The market turned, and his wealth exploded. His net worth reportedly jumped from around 2.5 crore rupees to nearly 50 crore. In a single year, one conviction, one moment of fear, and roughly a 20 times leap. Dalal Street now knew his name, but the market was about to enter one of the wildest periods in Indian financial history. The early 1990s, stocks were rising, money was pouring into the market. And at the center of the madness was Harshad Mehta. The bull market created fortunes almost overnight. Investors chased rising prices, confidence turned into euphoria, and euphoria turned into a bubble. Rakesh had already built a reputation as a sharp trader. But during this period, he and his mentor, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, saw danger where others saw endless opportunity. They believed the madness could not continue forever. So they took the other side. As the bubble began to burst, they short-sold stocks. The market collapsed, fortunes disappeared, and Rakesh emerged with some of the biggest trading profits of his career. But something was changing. Trading had made him rich. It would not be trading that made him a billionaire. Rakesh began to see a much bigger opportunity: India itself. A growing middle class, higher incomes, more spending, more consumption. Rakesh believed that millions of Indian families would slowly change the way they lived. They would buy more, travel more, spend more on brands, and the companies serving them could grow for decades. So Rakesh's strategy began to shift. Instead of asking, "What stock can I trade today?" he started asking, "What business can I own for years?" And that question led him to the investment that would define his fortune: Titan. At the time, Titan was known for watches and jewelry. Many investors did not see it as the foundation of a massive fortune. Rakesh did. He bought into the company early. Then he did something much harder than buying. He held. Through market crashes, through volatility, through years when selling would have been easier, Rakesh kept his conviction because he wasn't simply watching a stock price. He was betting on India's consumer. As India's middle class grew, Titan grew with it. Watches, jewelry, retail. The business expanded, and Rakesh's stake became more valuable. Then more valuable, and more valuable again. Eventually, his Titan investment alone would be worth thousands of crores. The mysterious investment that helped create India's big bull was no longer a mystery. It was Titan, and Rakesh had learned one of the most powerful lessons in investing. A great trade can make you money, but owning a great business for a long time can build a fortune. Titan became the largest holding in his portfolio for much of the rest of his life. But Rakesh wasn't betting on just one company. Through Rare Enterprises, he built a wider investment portfolio. The name Rare came from the first letters of Rakesh and his wife Rekha. Through the firm, his investments stretched across companies including Chrysil, Lupin, Metro Brands, and Star Health. Different industries, different businesses, but often the same underlying belief. India was growing, and Rakesh wanted to own pieces of the companies that could grow with it. By 2017, the scale of his fortune had become almost difficult to imagine. On one day alone, a rise in Titan's share price reportedly added more than 800 crore rupees to his net worth. Think about that. The young man who once entered the market with 5,000 rupees could now see his wealth move by hundreds of crores in a single day. But success did not place him beyond scrutiny. In 2021, India's market regulator, SEBI, investigated allegations connected to insider trading in app tech. Jhunjhunwala and associates ultimately settled the matter by paying a combined settlement amount, without admitting guilt. It was a controversial chapter, and a reminder that even India's most celebrated investors could face regulatory scrutiny. But by then, Rakesh was preparing for another bet, one that had almost nothing to do with stock charts. This time, he looked at the sky. In 2021, Rakesh backed the launch of a new Indian airline, Akasa Air. For decades, he had invested in India's growth from the stock market. Now he wanted to help build a company himself. He invested tens of millions of dollars for a major stake. Many saw aviation as a brutal business. Airlines were expensive. Competition was intense. The risks were enormous, but Rakesh had spent his entire career betting on one idea: India's future would be bigger than its present. He believed more Indians would fly, and he wanted Akasa Air to be part of that future. In August 2022, Akasa Air took its first flight. For Rakesh, it should have been the beginning of a new chapter. 1 week later, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala passed away in Mumbai at the age of 62 after a sudden decline in his health. The man who had spent his life studying India's future was gone. But the numbers tell only part of his story. 5,000 rupees, 7.5 lakh rupees in borrowed capital, 43 Tata Tea shares, a union budget bet, Titan Rare Enterprises, Akasa Air, and eventually a fortune estimated at nearly $5.8 billion. But Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's real legacy wasn't a single stock. It was the way he looked at India. When others saw fear, he searched for opportunity. When others wanted quick profits, he learned to hold. And when the market proved him wrong, he believed the first rule was simple: respect it. Know what you're willing to lose and never stop learning. In 2023, the government of India posthumously awarded Rakesh Jhunjhunwala the Padma Shri, a fitting tribute to one of the country's most famous investors. He entered Dalal Street with 5,000 rupees. He left behind one of the greatest investing stories India had ever seen. And perhaps the biggest lesson from his life is this: fortunes are rarely built by being right once. They're built by learning, waiting, and having the conviction to act when everyone else is afraid. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more documentaries about, the people, companies, and decisions that changed business history. I'll see you in the next one.